But first tonight, the death of a 6-month-old toddler during a demolition drive in the national capital has sparked off a full-blown political war now. The ruling Aam Aadmi Party government in the national capital and the Congress and the Railway Ministry engaging in a war of words. The Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal today calling Rahul Gandhi a kid for protesting against his government, which prompted an angry reaction. While an autopsy reveals that the child probably died just hours before the demolition, the big question remains, was this demolition done without giving enough warning? And where will the people who now live on the streets in this winter go? Those questions are our top story tonight.
A day after 500 slums were demolished in Delhi Shakur Basti area, this is how over 1,000 slum dwellers are living. With the roof over their heads reduced to rubble, slum dwellers are battling the winter chill under the open sky. The worst casualty are the children. As dwellers battle the cold, the death of a 7-month-old infant has become the bone of contention between the railways and the locals. The infant's father claims that the girl died during the demolition. The post-mortem report too suggests that the 7-month-old died due to a head injury caused by blunt force impact.
यहाँ पे भगदड़ हो रही थी, बच्चे के ऊपर कोई सामान गिर गया था, उसमें बच्चे दब गई थी, वो उसमें मर गया, उसको हमने हॉस्पिटल ले गए, वहाँ हॉस्पिटल में डॉक्टर ने इसको कहा दिया ये मतलब डेथ कर चुके हैं.
With the railways under the scanner for the timing of the demolition, Minister Suresh Prabhu clarified in Parliament, claiming that despite repeated notices, the encroachers did not vacate the area.
There was no midnight operation as reported. As per report from Northern Railway, the child alleged to have died during the encroachment demol drive had expired much before the encroachment demol had commenced, as confirmed by the Delhi Police Escort.
But after a quick meeting between Delhi Chief Minister and the Railways Minister, it was decided that there will be no further demolition without rehabilitation.
In principle ये decide हुआ है कि आने वाले समय में कभी भी कहीं भी बिना rehabilitation के demolition नहीं किया जाएगा.
Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi was the latest politician to visit the demolition site.
हम आपकी लड़ाई लड़ेंगे और ये आप पे जो अत्याचार हो रहा है ये हम नहीं होने देंगे. गले लगा मुझसे चलो.
Demolition politics was at its peak even inside Parliament, where TMC and AAP MPs protested at the Gandhi statue.
दिल्ली सरकार से कोई पूछा नहीं गया, ना ही कोई उनकी सलाह ली गई, इसीलिए केंद्र सरकार जो है वो इसके लिए जिम्मेदार है.
लोगों की जो वास्तविक तकलीफ है उससे ध्यान हटाकर केवल अपना पॉलिटिकल इंटरेस्ट सर्व करना ये उचित नहीं है.
As netas bicker, Shakur Basti dwellers continue to shiver.
Since yesterday, politicians have made a beeline for Shakur Basti. The slum dwellers who have been living as invisible citizens are now the most politically sought after. And while the centre and the state pass the buck, all these people care about is a place to live. In New Delhi, with Sanjeev, Anindya Banerjee for India Today.
I'm going to raise 6 big questions at the top of the program today. Was the Shakur Basti demolition done without warning? Were people literally thrown out of their tenements without any warning? Did the demolition drive kill the child? Or did the child die of entirely different reasons even before the demolition took place? Did Arvind Kejriwal wake up too late? Was the Chief Minister too late? Or did the railways keep the Chief Minister in the dark? Did the railways keep the Chief Minister of Delhi in the dark? Do netas use slum dwellers only as a vote bank? That's the larger question in the manner in which people are rushing now to Shakur Basti. And is the law different for slum dwellers and those who live in high rises? Now let me tell you, this story may be about Delhi at the moment, but it could apply to any of our major cities which are replete with slums and where these conflicts take place again and again every time there is a demolition. Joining me now is Raghav Chadda, the spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party. Nalin Kohli is the spokesperson of the BJP. Sharmista Mukherjee of the Congress. And Indu Prakash Singh is the National Forum for Human Rights. Let me come to you, Raghav Chadda, first. The Aam Aadmi Party now seems to have made this their big cause celebrate. But the fact is that the railways claim they were simply following the law. A National Green Tribunal had asked for these encroachments, and I use the words encroachments, to be removed. 3 notices had been served earlier, and the railways claims this was done as per due process. How do you respond?
Okay. Mr. Sardesai, the railway officials know this better than me, that there is a slum and JJ rehabilitation relocation policy of the government of NCT of Delhi that applies to the territorial jurisdiction of Delhi, which clearly says that in case any demolition of any manner needs to be conducted, a due report, examination report needs to be carried out before that by a department of the Delhi government, which furnishes a report whether the encroachment or the unauthorized construction predates 2006, because there is a Supreme Court judgment which says that all constructions that have arisen before 2006 cannot be demolished. That is one. Number 2, if in any case such a demolition needs to take place, appropriate rehabilitation alternative arrangement needs to be made as per this policy. This has been reaffirmed by the Chief Minister's letters, repeated letters in August, September, and as late as 1st December 2015 to the Honorable Union Railway Minister. This has been reaffirmed by meetings in a committee headed by the Chief Minister, in which senior railway officials were present. And this is not just a violation of the Supreme Court order or the Special Provisions Act or the rehabilitation policy, but also a human rights violation. So none of the departments of the Delhi government were informed. Even the inhabitants were informed only a few hours before such encroachment drive were to be carried out, and this has been telecasted on your channel the entire day.
You know, I think there is one valid concern that you put out, and Nalin Kohli, you must respond to that, because Raghav Chadha is effectively reflecting also what the National Green Tribunal order clearly said. Rehabilitation must be given priority over eviction. You cannot evict a slum dweller with just less than 24-hour notice without providing any possibility of rehabilitation. And to that extent, the railways, and since it is your government, is guilty of inhumanity. You cannot run, you may claim you are following the due process of law, but the law also prescribes rehabilitation before eviction.
And the law does not prescribe politics being done and blame throwing, because solutions in situations like this have to be brought about by all the stakeholders. It doesn't happen by just landing up there and 2 people making allegations. Let's come back to the issue. Number 1 is, first, absolutely without a doubt, it is regrettable that in the weather, and it changed rather suddenly on the day of the demolition, that people had to suffer because of the cold. That could be a point on which we could be held guilty. That's 1. 2 is, following the law is an order. I mean, you have a strange situation here, that on one side the railways is getting fined 5 lakh rupees as the National Green Tribunal fined for defecation and related to issues of cleanliness on a land that obviously is of the railways. On the other hand, there's a safety issue. Can that be done? So the notice is not 24 hours. The notice has to be seen when it was first sent out, which is March. There are 4 or 5 notices have gone. The last one you are referring to. Then you have politics over a child's death. Now that child's death is not related to the demolition. It has happened preceding the demolition. If nobody believes, let's wait for a post-mortem report.
No, the post-mortem
But everybody jumps in there. Now let's go to the rehabilitation.
Yes.
Let's go. It's not come out yet.
Yes.
It's not come out yet.
Yes.
I'm saying it also. I'm saying let's wait for it. Whoever, we will know the exact position by then. But why do the politics first? Let's come to the third issue about rehabilitation. 11 crores is my information that has been given as way back of many years ago. Of course, the Aam Aadmi Party wasn't incumbent there. The Congress was there. Mr. Rahul Gandhi obviously wouldn't be aware. So therefore, from that perspective, 4,000 houses had to be built. I mean, that's about 8-10 years ago. What has happened on that? So therefore, while everybody else is pontificating, while everybody else has a standpoint, doing politics, if a department follows the orders, or if the department is following due process, you hold blame. So I don't agree with this approach.
Can I just bring in Raghav for a moment?
It has to be done humane by everyone. It can't be a one way.
Nalin, you make a valid point again in the context of the politics which is being played out, and Raghav, you need to respond to that. There are 2 issues. One is the rehabilitation issue, and it's good that you are raising it. It's an important, vital issue. Anyone who is being evicted within 24 hours deserves rehabilitation. But the politics that you have played, where you have said that the child, even before waiting for the post-mortem report, that the child died because of the demolition drive. That's the central point you have made. You have accused this government thereby of inhumanity. Do you have proof that the child was killed because of the demolition drive? Or is this politics? And then you call Rahul Gandhi a child?
When the Honorable Chief Minister, the Honorable Home Minister of Delhi arrived at the location, the father of the child clearly said that my child is in very bad shape because of the demolition. I am quoting from a PTI report. What exactly did the father say? He said, and I quote, "My child, who just started seeing the world, would have been by my side today if the officials had shown some generosity and given us little time and prior notice." So this is what the father is saying. The father then goes to the police station, files a complaint against the officials who conducted this demolition under IPC 304A, attempt to murder, etc. That's one. Point number two, the post-mortem report that has come, which was also telecasted on your channel, because I was there on your channel earlier in the day, clearly shows that the child died because of, some instruments or some objects falling on his
a blunt object allegedly fell, but that was a preliminary report.
Precisely. So now I am only saying that, coming to the politics of it. So this is what the father claims. Now coming to the politics of it, Mr. Sardesai, let me put this point blank. If fighting for the rights of poor and downtrodden is politics, we are doing politics. If fixing accountability for this barbaric, inhuman act is politics, we are doing politics. And if fighting for the rehabilitation of the poor people is politics, we are doing politics. I mean, we live in a city where unauthorized constructions by rich people and influential politicians do not get demolished for decades, and just because these people are poor, their shanties get demolished. These people have been living since 1980s and 90s. All of them, or many of them, have ration cards, electricity connections, water connections, and this has been violated and all the Supreme Court guidelines, the rules of the land, laws of the land have been violated, and the railway officials unilaterally conduct this barbaric act, and you assume us to keep quiet. You assume the Chief Minister of the Aam Aadmi Party to not raise their voice. We will fight for the poor.
I will come to the issue of whether the rich get away with unauthorized construction and the poor don't get away with encroachment. But quick response from you, Nalin, and I'll ask my producer to continue to play the shots. Go ahead.
Okay, two quick comments. One is, hypocrisy certainly counts for politics. So I'll grant that to Raghav Chadda. That's what politics is all about. If they have solutions and they do work, then they may not be politics, then it will be work as a government is supposed to. The rest of it is politics. Now if he's quoting 304A, suppose the thing happened before the demolition drive started, suppose it was 4 hours before the demolition drive, so then would you say that 304A is going to apply to the father or the relative of the child who caused accidental death, and will you say I'm going to go out there and make noise about it? And two, would you then say that the Chief Minister and the others who incited, let's say, hatred would be now a part of the various sections that can come up of the IPC? So let's be a little more restrained about this. Jingoism is not governance.
No, this is not.
That's the only issues that the Aam Aadmi Party has to get.
Many will say this is
keep that aside. We can't come down to that.
No, 1 minute, Raghav. Raghav, Nalin,
as far as I'm concerned, this whole sounding we work for the poor, not a single political party does not work for the poor. So I mean, we can quote 5,000 things that our government does. So I mean, this is all hypocrisy.
Okay, Raghav, just a minute. I'll come back to you, because just a minute, Raghav.
Are we saying that the father of the child is lying?
We are saying that I want to wait for the final post-mortem report.
How can you pass a judgment? How can you pass a judgment on which your Chief Minister has gone ahead?
I mean, our Chief Minister, the Chief Minister of Delhi.
Our Chief Minister, yes. So I mean, if I come tomorrow, Mr. Chadda, and say ABC completely lie, does that entitle a responsible person like a Chief Minister of the state to immediately do politics based on hearsay? I have not said that. I am saying, have you shown restraint to the show before you make an allegation?
Gentlemen,
and my answer is equally simple, Mr. Chadda. Have you shown the restraint to the show before you go ahead?
Inhuman on the part of the BJP.
I'm sorry, that death is sad, but you are making an allegation without checking, Mr. Chadda. So would you say if the father of the child is wrong, would the Chief Minister apologize for the allegations? Come on, Mr. Chadda.
Nalin Kohli
The
and Raghav,
post-mortem
Nalin
report,
Raghav, this is not...
The father of the child has lodged a complaint. I
Where is
don't
the
know who are you
post-mortem
saving,
report?
Mr. Kohli.
It's not come out as
All
far
of
as
us
I'm
should
aware.
work towards
Raghav,
giving
Nalin, I'm asking my producer...
post-mortem report, Mr.
It is
Chadda?
very sad.
No, we must allow the others to speak
with
also.
India Today.
Raghav,
Mr. Sardesai will show you the report.
Raghav, just a minute.
I said it in the beginning only.
At the moment,
this is hypocrisy because this is all high-sounding things. They haven't done a single thing so far to implement.
Just a minute. I'm going to Sharmishta Mukherjee, because while you make these accusations, the Congress party has also joined in. Sharmishta Mukherjee, Rahul Gandhi goes to the site and says, we will fight for the rights of the slum dwellers. Are you aware that in 2011-12, 1,200 Jhuggi Jhopdis were destroyed when what were similarly for encroachments were raised to the ground, were demolished when Sheila Dikshit was the chief minister. Now, why suddenly does the conscience of the Congress awaken when you are in opposition? This is where the point comes, that this is all competitive vote bank politics. This is at the end not about humanity, it's about competitive vote bank politics. When you are in government, you demolish. When you are in the opposition, you go and fight for the slum dwellers.
Rajdeep, I would like to remind you that during the Sheila Dikshit government for the past 15 years, there had been about 55 resettlement colonies, and this particular, the 2011-12 case you are talking about, we are very much aware of it, and of course the demolition had happened, but a lot of them had been rehabilitated, and also according to the Supreme Court order that it should be done in situ as much as possible. That we could not do because of various other constraints, but it is Congress has always been very sympathetic and towards
Madam, encroachments whether in Mumbai, Bangalore or in Delhi have taken place when there have been Congress governments in power. So let us not say that political parties observe different rules. My fear is you observe different rules when you are in government and different rules when you are in opposition.
No, not at all, not at all. You know, encroachments do happen and the government of the time has to deal with the situation, but you know, as far as demolition is concerned, the way it has been done and the kind of blame game what has been happening in this studio, it reflects that exactly why has it happened. Because the railway ministry says that they have served notices.
Yes.
The Aam Aadmi party says that they haven't. So who is responsible? Firstly, without giving adequate notice, you know, how can you just come and demolish?
Okay.
And if adequate notice were given, then why didn't Aam Aadmi government take enough measures to rehabilitate those people?
Raghav, you want to respond
to that?
Why
didn't they take preemptive action?
Raghav, do you want to once and for all respond to that before I go to Mr. Indu Prakash?
Yes,
did the Aam Aadmi party know about this?
I will respond.
Did Arvind Kejriwal then wake up too late, or was he kept in the dark?
Okay, I will respond to this. Mr. Sardesai, let me say this with all responsibility. No intimation, forget an application seeking the permission of the Delhi government was given to any department, any wing, any official of the government of NCT of Delhi. When Mr. Kejriwal spoke with the Honorable Union Minister when this incident happened, he was unaware. When he met with senior officials later in the evening yesterday at his residence, the officials clearly acknowledged that yes, we acknowledge that no notice was given to the government of Delhi. If they are claiming that they have given notices to the people who are the slum dwellers and the inhabitants of that area, that's a different matter. But no information was given to the government of Delhi.
You were unaware of this?
As mandated by law.
You all were unaware.
A survey needs to be conducted by the Department of Government of Delhi before any decision on any such demolition needs to be conducted. So there is a detailed process laid down by the government of Delhi, whereby you have to contact DUSUB, that is the Delhi Urban Shelter Improvement Board.
Just to make one point.
Just a minute, Sharmishta, just a minute. The fact is, this is exactly what the High Court today has said. The High Court has also questioned the manner in which the demolition has taken place. Before I come to you, Sharmishta, Indu Prakash Singh, you've worked on housing rights, and I want to understand the National Forum for Housing Rights. The point which was made in the course of the debate, that if there is an just a minute, Nalin, if there was an unauthorized colony in an upscale area, we've seen it in Delhi, we see it in Mumbai. Such colonies, would they be demolished as easily as this with less than 24 hours notice? Is this a problem that someone who doesn't have the clout that the poor have to face, or is it that the poor are a vote bank and therefore eventually can get politicians to come to them to stop encroachments? Where is the truth when it comes to this issue of unauthorized or encroachments on urban land?
Yeah, Rajdeep, I must say that, I have seen evictions happening by the Congress, by the BJP, and it's happened all across the country. There was a homeless shelter demolished by MCD way back in 2009, and the High Court of Delhi had to intervene in that. This demolition which has taken place by the railways, I must say, that's one body which has been totally unaccountable. Many of the people in this living in the jhuggies around railway tracks and colonies and in Mumbai, in Delhi, other places, they have been evicted mercilessly. The government of India doesn't follow any single rule. So I would say that there's a total brazen neglect of rules or the Constitution of India by the central government and by the railways or any ministries of the government of India as such,
Okay, so
I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
You're saying there is a brazen disregard for the rules. The flip side, of course, is that this is also a vote bank. So at the end of the day, Sharmishta, every politician will run to the slum dwellers because they know there is it about humanity? Is it about the fact that they are going to suffer in the cold, or is it about vote bank? I'm going to ask you and Raghav in the end. I want 30 seconds from both my politicians. Is this about humanity or is this about vote bank? Sharmishta, you first and then Raghav.
However cynical it might sound to people, but politics ultimately is about humanity. You do join politics because you want to serve the humanity. It is not just vote bank politics. I beg to differ, but politics it is because that is the highest goal of politics, that's the highest level of politics. But yes, some people do utilize politics as vote bank politics.
So Rahul Gandhi went there out of human concern. So Rahul Gandhi, you say, went there because he was concerned about. Okay, out of you, Raghav Chadha.
Rahul Gandhi has been. Yes.
Raghav Chadha, did Arvind Kejriwal go there out of human concern, or did Arvind Kejriwal go there because he realized this is a core constituency for him and he could not create a situation where this group would say that the government of Delhi had failed him?
Mr. Kejriwal is the Honorable Chief Minister of Delhi. If some barbaric, inhuman, unpardonable incident will happen in Delhi, it is his duty as well as his responsibility to go and spend time with them to ensure that adequate rehabilitation arrangements have been made, and this is precisely what he has done, and any human person, any sitting Chief Minister would do this. That's one. Point number two, and I would like to reaffirm that if fighting for the rights of the poor and downtrodden is politics, and we are doing so, and if in such a brazen manner one agency of the central government violates all laws, violates the judgments of the Supreme Courts and renders them homeless, then we will fight for them. And on the other hand, if they talk about smart cities, if they talk about bullet trains, if they talk about making fancy flyovers, we will expose them also. As a responsible opposition, we will continue to do this, and as a responsible political party and as a leader of the masses, Mr. Kejriwal will continue to spend time with poor, the downtrodden, and will always fight for their rights.
Indu Prakash Singh, Sainik Farms, a number of VIPs live there in the heart of Delhi. It's unauthorized, right? What happens then? Please tell me, will that ever be demolished? Will that ever face what the slum dwellers have faced?
I must tell you, the renowned advocates and all, and the rich people stay in Sainik Farms, it will never touch Rajdeep. And the issue really is that the poor have nobody in the country as such to fight for them, and that's why they brazenly do all this. One thing, Rajiv, I want to also mention that there is a deficit of 24.7 million houses in the country. What have the governments done till date? And 99.8% of shortage is for the EWS and the LIG sections. That's the government of India own report. So they haven't constructed, and the central government talks about housing for all by saying that they'll be creating 2.5 crore housing by 2022, which means that they have to have 9,781 houses ready per day. What technology they have? They don't construct houses and then they demolish on top of it. It is a crime which the government has committed, railways committed.
Is it a crime? Is it a crime, or many will say that at the end of the day the hands of the railway ministry were tied by the fact that notices had been served by the National Green Tribunal? The question is, what about rehabilitation? How will you provide rehabilitation to the homeless particularly in this freezing winter. And I think that's the point that all our politicians need to think about. You cannot evict people without providing them some kind of an alternative in a country like India. Sharmishta Mukherjee, Indu Prakash Singh, Raghav Chadda, Nalin Kohli, I appreciate your joining us on that story that's building up through the day.